Okay, so maybe this is a common thing, maybe it isn't, but I have a list in my notes app of things that I don't really understand. It sounds kind of funny, but it's kind of just things that I generally don't understand the concepts of, or just things that are kind of hard to believe exist. So today I thought it would be fun to go through that list and talk about why they're there in the first place, and then do a little bit of research on them so I understand them a little more. Just kind of expand my knowledge a little bit, and I'll learn something hopefully. Maybe you'll learn something too. But let's get started. Please don't make fun of me. Okay, first thing that I have on the list is banks. It's just such a confusing system to me. Just the whole concept of banks, the fact that an ATM's, what is it, just like a stash of cash? And like, who funds the banks? What happens if a bank goes out of business? And there's the whole thing in movies how banks are portrayed as being like these big rooms with round metal doors, and there's like a handle, and you open it up, and there's just bars of gold. Like, what does it actually look like? Because I'm pretty sure that money in banks, when it's in your account, is just a number, but then they have cash there and they give it to you. I just don't understand. I don't understand how the system works. So we're gonna look it up because banks have just always been so confusing to me. Like, who funded the first bank? Like, where did that come? Like, I don't understand. Okay, so I just looked it up, and it says that there is actual money in bank accounts, but it's mostly digital records representing funds, not physical cash sitting there. That I already knew. That I was already aware of. So basically, the numbers that are in your bank account are digital representation. It's not actual like physical cash sitting there. It's the amount of money that the bank owes you. How do ATMs work? Please bear with me. Okay, so in the ATMs, there are metal boxes, and in each of the metal boxes, they're separated by the amount of money. So, like, one will be full of $50 bills, or one will be full of $10 bills. Okay, and you can't literally just like break into an ATM and steal the money. Because I don't know, for some reason, I always just pictured like it's just like a pile of money. Like, what if someone breaks into that? It's not easy to break into. They're all in a bunch of metal safes. Okay, so I kind of understand a little more. It's not that I didn't necessarily understand banks. It's just they're just kind of a crazy concept. Like, the idea of ATMs are it's just a box full of money, but no, that does make a lot of sense. Okay, so it's actually a lot simpler than it seems. Okay, so banks get funded because of the money that they put out in the loans that they put out, because the money comes back. I'm gonna move on because like my brain's starting to hurt a little bit. Anything money wise, I can't do it. Okay, next thing is tinted windows slash sunglasses because they're kind of like the same idea. What do you mean? I'm in a car and I can see everyone out there, but they can't see me. What do you mean? And then same thing with sunglasses. If someone has sunglasses on, you cannot see their eyes. You can see their eyes, but you can see everyone else. It just feels like a concept that like it makes no sense. I don't understand it. So we're gonna look it up because this is always something that's confused me. Okay, it's actually a really common thing that people look up. It came up after I said tinted. Okay. So when a window is tinted, it has thin film on the windows. It says it reduces heat, UV radiation, and glare. Okay, according to Google, it says you can't see into tinted windows from the outside because the tint reflects most of the bright daylight, while light from inside is much dimmer, making it hard for your eyes to adjust and see through the film. Oh, okay, it has to do with how lighting works. So when the lighting is darker inside the place, you can't see into it because it's brighter outside. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. So I'm guessing sunglasses are the same idea. Okay, yeah, so it's the same idea as tinted windows. Okay, next thing, hibernation. It's not that I don't understand hibernation. I just want to look into what it actually is because when I was younger, I would always just picture a bear takes a nap and goes to sleep for months. I didn't know that they woke up. I didn't know they woke up. I thought it was literally basically like a coma. They went to sleep and just didn't wake up. And I just never understood how that worked. How are they sleeping for that long? I can't sleep for more than like 10 hours. How does that work? So yeah, I kind of just want to look it up like what hibernation actually is because when I was younger, I really just thought that they were going to sleep for months at a time, and I didn't know that they woke up to eat and stuff. Okay, it's a method of surviving winter, and they're reducing their metabolism because the food sources are scarce. They don't have as many food sources, so by staying inside and resting a lot, and then therefore like lowering their metabolism, they're not going to need to eat as much. Okay, so by not going out and doing as many things, they're basically conserving the energy that they have. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I've never thought about that. A lot of these things you look it up and you're like, okay, yeah, that's obvious. It's just I've never taken the time to really think about it. Okay, next thing, it's probably not the first time that you've heard people talk about this. I know it's probably basic physics, but boats. How does a boat float? And then how do they build boats? And how did one person discover that a heavy ass cruise ship was actually going to stay above water? But then if you drop a penny into the water, it's going to sink. I know it has to do with physics, but it still makes no sense to me how a cruise ship with thousands and thousands of people can float. And like, how did they discover that something that big was going to float? Was it because of the physics? Like, they had already basically figured that out, that it would be fine. I don't know. I know it probably has something to do with the shape or the volume. I don't really know. But I'm going to look it up because it's always been so crazy to me. It says, how do you even say that? Buoyancy? Buoyancy? How do you say that? It says it's a force exerted by a fluid. Okay, so it says the air inside of the boat keeps the density low enough to be able to float. But then why can't a coin sink? It's actually a really popular thing that people look, how do coins sink and boats float? Because it's always like the example that people use. Okay, so it has to do with the ship's shape. Okay, so it's because it's big enough to move the water and it makes the density less than the water. But the coin, I'm still kind of confused. Like, I kind of understand, but I'm still kind of confused on how that even works. Okay, I think I get it. I think I get it. It has to do with the density and the shape of things. Okay, next thing is growing. It's gonna make me sound so stupid, but the idea of growing, the fact that your legs literally stretch out. Where is it coming from? Actually, where is it coming from? I've just never understood. Same thing with fat loss. Where is it going? Like, actually, where is it going? I don't understand. It probably has something to do with like holding onto fluid, I'm guessing, because that's how it goes away. But I don't know. Something about just growing and bodies changing. Where is the skin coming from? Where is the skin going? I don't understand. Okay, so your bones get bigger because they're restoring themselves. So the bones get longer through nourishment. That's why when like you don't eat enough, you stop growing because bones stop getting longer. The extra skin is literally just from it stretching and expanding. The skin is literally just stretch. That's so weird. I thought there was just like more skin coming or something. I don't know. I don't know. And I've never really put too much thought into it. That's crazy. It literally, it's like elasticity. That's wild. That's crazy. Okay, next thing is perms. What do you mean I can permanently make my hair curled? My hair is becoming curled. You can literally just change the state of your hair. Okay, so they use a waving lotion to create the new shape, and they're basically reforming the hair's internal protein, which is called keratin. Okay, it's basically just a product that they use, and it's like altering chemicals that create the straight hair, basically. Oh, it says that it breaks the bond. Okay, so it basically breaks the bond and allows for you to do what you want with the hair. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, next thing, DVDs and CDs and record players too. Record players can confuse me even more actually because I've never had a record player, but you like put the thing on and it just starts to play music and you have to flip it over. I just the idea of you can literally insert it and it plays music or it puts film in front of you, and it's just kind of a crazy concept to me. First, I'm gonna do DVDs because CDs and DVDs are different. It's sound versus visuals. It uses a laser. Okay, so it says the DVD has microscopic bumps and flat areas, which is decoded into video and audio by the player, but that's still just so crazy to me. I know it's like a way of reading it, but I still just don't understand. How are you? I don't know. I don't know. I'm personally religious, so when things like this don't make sense to me, there has to be a higher power working into this because how do these things exist? It's the same thing with like the internet. How? How do you create the internet out of thin air? I don't understand. I don't understand. It's so weird. It's so weird. I could talk about this type of stuff for hours. Okay, next thing. Quicksand? What do you mean? Guys, I was terrified, literally terrified of quicksand when I was younger. I And it just seems like a concept that's not real, but it's a real thing. It's actually a real thing. Same thing with the Bermuda Triangle. These type of things that I discovered when I was younger, I genuinely was terrified of them. And after finding out about them, I would think about them for days on end. Like when I found out about the Bermuda Triangle, I was terrified. I was like, what do you mean there's boats and planes going missing in this one area? Okay, how does quicksand work? Okay, so it's literally just caused by sand and water meeting up together. When fine sand and water is mixed, it loses the strength and basically can't support weight. It's usually because it's around other water sources or flooding. That makes a lot of sense. Water causes the sand particles to basically push apart. Okay, next one is languages. Just the idea of languages, how people started to speak the same languages. How did that come to be? Who just decided, oh yeah, like they pointed at a pig and they're like, this is a pig. And everyone else just went along with it. I don't know. I don't know. How are languages spread? Yeah, well, I know with like migration, languages make it to other territories, but I mean, like, how did the languages start? That's my question. Okay, it says that the origin of human speech is a mystery. So they actually don't really know. Okay, well, I guess that didn't really answer my question because they don't actually know. They don't actually know where language comes from. There aren't individual people who created the language. It's kind of just a common thing. I don't know. I know that the one person making language doesn't make sense, but that was always my thing. I was like, well, how else was it made? Because words don't necessarily sound like what the thing sounds like. You know what I mean? Pigs don't make a pig noise. They're just called pigs. I don't know why pigs were my first example. The next one is probably gonna sound so stupid. I feel like I'm gonna like lose my social status through this or something. But the sky. Why is the sky blue? Why is the sky blue? But then when you go past it, it's just darkness and abyss in space. Why is it blue? Why is that the color that it is? And I know sometimes like the sky changes colors based on like light reflections and stuff, like when the sun is setting. Why is the sky blue? I'm glad to know I'm not the only person asking these things. It makes me feel a little better. So, according to Google, the atmosphere scatters sunlight, sending shorter blue wavelengths more than longer red ones in all directions, making the sky appear blue to our eyes. Okay, so it's that blue light is scattered more than other colors because it travels as shorter, smaller waves. This is why we see a blue sky most of the time. Okay, so I don't know why the blue travels in shorter, smaller waves, but it just does, which is why the sky is blue. The next thing, parrots. Why are we so chill? Why are we so calm about parrots being able to talk? I know they're not actually talking, but they're basically the only animals that are known for repeating things. I know that sometimes like, you'll see videos of dogs or cats like imitating things, which makes sense. When you're around certain things a lot, you'll pick up those signals. It's like when you hang around with someone a lot, you start to pick up their mannerisms and the words and phrases that they use and their behaviors basically. But why is it only parrots that literally will repeat phrases? It's so weird to me, and we're all just so calm about it. We're just all calm with the fact that I will walk through the door and say something and then a parrot will repeat me. It's so weird. How do parrots talk? Okay, so parrots talk because they're vocal learners. They grasp sound by hearing and then imitating them. Okay, the next thing is the little glass peepholes that are on the inside of doors in apartments or hotels. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I can compare it to the point fob in the camera where you have a photo of something and then it basically zooms out. It's the same idea. You look into the peephole outside and you can see them, but they can't see you. It's a way of seeing like who's outside the door. How does that work? How is it zooming out? Okay, so it's just a type of lens that allows for a wide angle view. So I'm guessing the phone cameras do the same thing. It's like a special type of mirror that allows that. Okay, next thing is bridges. Not necessarily how bridges work, but how bridges are built. How are you building something in the water? I just don't understand how that's done. I don't understand how they do that. So I'm gonna look it up. Okay, so they create temporary dry work zones, allowing them to build foundations. Okay, so they build things temporarily so that the workers are able to stand on those dry areas. I assumed it would be something like that, but connected to that one a little bit. is underwater tunnels. How are they building tunnels underwater? How does that work? Because the tunnel is connected to something. So if it's open and you put it under the water, wouldn't the water go into it? I don't understand at all. Okay. All these explanations make sense, but I just don't understand because it says the tubes have watertight seals. But how are you connecting the parts if they're tightly sealed? How are you going to move your way through the tunnel? That's what I'm confused about. That's what I still don't understand. Is it because the tunnel starts outside of the water, so when you connect the parts together, it's not a problem? I don't know. Okay, so they use pressure control. Okay, so throughout the process, they're pumping the water out, and they have a lot of seals and advanced machinery. Listen, I'm sure if I saw this stuff being done in front of me, it would make a lot of sense. It's just when you think about it, it's offhand kind of crazy. Okay, world population. How are they keeping track of world population if there are constantly people being born and also people passing away? How do they calculate that? There are so many people in the world. How are they able to keep track of that? Okay, I guess that makes sense. They keep track of their records basically because when you're born, you have a birth certificate, and then I guess it's added up region by region or country by country. That makes a lot of sense, but it's just still so crazy to me how they keep track of that. I'm sure it's like in a system and then it just you add into it. Okay, yeah, so they basically just collect data from surveys and records. But it's still just so crazy to me. There are so many people in the world. What is it? I think it's like 9 billion. Is it 8 or 9 billion at this point? Okay, it says over 8 billion people. Okay, before last one, comas. I don't understand. I don't understand how you can be in a state where you're not conscious and you're not aware, but your brain is still alive and your heart is still beating, but you're not there. Like how does that I don't understand how that works. Okay, so it's usually caused by brain dysfunction from injury. Okay, so it's just a really severe brain dysfunction, but you're still alive. It's just basically your body's response. It responds by going into a coma. Sometimes it's also lack of oxygen. Okay, and it's a time where the brain can rest and heal. Because it says that sometimes doctors will intentionally put people into a coma to help with healing and resting the brain. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's just a brain dysfunction. Okay, last what I'm going to talk about is really long surgeries. You know, when you're watching a movie or reading a book, or maybe this happens in life, and someone's like, oh, I just came out of a 48-hour surgery. Were you didn't sleep for 48 hours, or is it like in shifts? Do you go to the bathroom? Like, I'm sure they do, but how you've got to have a lot of doctors on that shift because how are you doing a surgery for 40 hours and you're in a state of mind where you can actually care for the person and be doing the surgery properly? Wouldn't you be worried about the sleep deprivation causing like a malfunction or the surgery not going well? I don't know. Okay, so they do take breaks. I knew that they took breaks, but for how long? Because it says that they don't get a lot of fatigue. Okay, yeah, so if I make sure that they're really prioritizing the patient's safety by making sure everyone's getting enough breaks. But briefly stopping, I would not be able to stay awake for 48 hours. And like, even if they took a short nap, like, how long are these breaks? Because even if they took a short nap, it would be hard to get back up after because you'd want to keep sleeping. Okay, so they take breaks. They're just that's insane to me. That's crazy. I mean, I'm sure they usually prepare ahead of time. They usually know if they're going to be doing like a really, really long surgery. They probably prepare and get extra sleep leading up to it and stuff. Okay, well, that's going to be about it for today. There are other things on the list, but if I keep talking about it, I could probably talk about it for hours. But thank you for watching until the end if you did. I love you so much, and I'll see you next week.